Brian Cole,
Hello.
welcome to the Granite Discourse.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being on here.
Anytime. Now, you're a state representative for,
Manchester, Ward 7, Hillsborough 26.
and how long have you been doing that for?
This is my second term.
Okay.
Yep.
What's it like being a New Hampshire state representative?
It's fantastic. I really get to reach out to the community. I get to help my constituents with any kind of problems that they have. Been able to put forward some good legislation for the state of New Hampshire, and I think I've killed some bad legislation that's come through some of the committees, and I mean, I'm having a blast up there. Everyone's really friendly and, yeah, getting good things done.
What's some of the bad legislation that you killed?
We had, well, here's one. You said you were a contractor, right?
Yeah.
We had one guy that wanted all lumber to be actual dimensional lumber. So if it was a 1x2, it actually had to be 1x2,
Oh, really?
not the cut dimensions like they are, like the standards are for the rest of the world.
Rough sawn.
Yeah, he wanted New Hampshire to have its own standard.
Oh, really?
Yep. So there's one.
Well, some people might like that, but then others might not.
There's some interesting things that go on up there.
I read online that you're on two different committees.
Yes. My first term, I was on Commerce and Consumer Affairs, and we handled all the banking, insurance, and New Hampshire Liquor Commission legislation for the state of New Hampshire.
Okay.
And that was a little over 100 bills that we listened to in that first term for that one.
Is that just this one in 1 year?
In 1 year, yeah. And this last term, I was lucky enough to get promoted to vice chair of the newly created housing committee for the state of New Hampshire.
Okay.
So we've been working on a lot of zoning legislation, condo association legislation, and building problems and barriers.
And that's all the legislation I hear everybody fighting about online.
Yeah, it's been a hot topic because of the housing crisis we're in New Hampshire, and we're trying to do things to mitigate that.
How many of those bills were there? There was quite a few.
We had probably about 30 bills in the housing committee, and I'd say probably 25 of them went on consent, but a bunch of them got pulled off and they didn't even make it out of the House.
Somebody explained to me consent before, but can you explain to me again?
It's when both sides agree on a bill. So you have the Democrats and the Republicans all agreeing that this is a good piece of legislation and it should just go forward.
And you assume that when it goes forward, it's going to pass.
You assume that when it goes on the consent calendar, it's just going to make it through free and clear.
But that didn't happen.
Not this term. We had a very small group of people created a lot of problems and killed some really good legislation. It was kind of sad to see it, but it is what it is. That's politics. So.
Yeah.
But I would say we got 85% put through, so that's a win in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get everything. That's just reality.
What is your background before you were a state representative?
Well, I've lived in New Hampshire my whole life. I went to college at Southern New Hampshire University, so I have my degree in economics and finance. I also have my degree in accounting. I owned a wholesale company here in Manchester, a big warehouse, 47,000 square feet, and we imported tools, sold tools to retailers throughout the United States. It was a big line. It was about 1,300 line items long, hammers, wrenches, screwdrivers, just basic stuff. People down in the Manchester area that perhaps been to R&R and Hooksett, that was like one of our bigger stores that we sold to. So it was that line of tools. And we had that business for 25 years. But as things change, like everything else, everything's going to online, so people aren't building brick and mortar stores anymore. So the business kind of went by the wayside, and I was fortunate enough that I was in a position I could retire from it.
So how old were you when you started that business?
I've been in it my whole life. My father started it, so I would say since I was 12 years old, and my brother and I bought it from him in 2004.
Okay.
Yeah, so we owned it for 20 years.
And you guys just recently?
Just recently retired last year.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. It's an interesting feeling. I don't know exactly what to do with myself some days with all this free time I got. That's why I'm up at the Statehouse. It keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah.
It gives me something to think about.
So how much time do you spend up there?
When we're in session, a good 30 hours a week.
And how long is session?
2 committees.
How long is session?
It lasts January through basically May, a little bit into June. But those first 3 or 4 months, it's a grind. Because you're in committee, so anybody that wants to put a bill in, they can put a bill in. Then you have to, by law in New Hampshire, you need to have the public testify on it. So we hear every single bill that goes through it, and we hear testimony on it. Sometimes it'll take 2 or 3 hours just listening to one bill. And when you have 1,300 bills in a session, it eats up a lot of time.
So you said you killed a lot of bad legislation, but did you help project more good legislation?
I think one of the biggest ones we had was bail reform.
Mm-hmm.
That just stops that constant revolving door. The police arrest somebody for stabbing somebody in 20 minutes, they're out on a cash bail, and they're doing it again. And it's just got to stop. And then that's what we did with the bail reform this time.
And how long has that been going on for, where people are just being let out of jail for violent crimes?
The bail reform, it's kind of back to what it used to be, maybe like 20, 25 years ago. And then that pendulum got swung way to the left, and it just was out of control. And now we've kind of brought it back to where it needs to be, in the middle.
When did it get that far to the left?
It was when the Democrats were in control of the Statehouse, in the early 2000s. Yeah, it just went haywire. We were just finally able to get it back. We had to do it in two phases. We did it 2 years ago. Chris Sununu signed a portion of it, which really helped us clean up Manchester, helped clean up the streets and stuff like that. And then this next time, it's about to go into implementation that, if you do something bad, you're going to stay in jail.
I haven't been to Manchester in probably 10 years. How bad did it get down there?
It was awful. You couldn't walk down the streets. You didn't feel comfortable. You couldn't go into any of the parks, right? It was just, people were urinating and defecating all over the place. It was just nasty. It was gross.
A lot of drugs.
A lot of drugs, a lot of mental illness because of all the drug abuse. And, that kind of unfortunately goes hand in hand with the two things. So,
yeah.
And it's been cleaned up. The people who are in the shelters, and I went on a ride along with the Manchester Fire Department about a month ago, and we visited the homeless shelters, and I also visited the homeless encampments in Manchester, and they're not as big or as prevalent as what they were before. So they've done a good job of cleaning them up and getting those people into those shelters. And the shelters are near capacity, but they're not over capacity, so we're handling it properly.
Did they say where they go when they leave? People go to the shelters for help.
Yeah. Hopefully they're getting back on their feet or trying to get back to their families or wherever the circumstances were that put them in that spot.
So where those shelters aren't full capacity, there's probably less people on the streets?
That would be my conclusion, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I toured it, my big takeaway was how clean the shelters were. They do a good job of it. And they're serving 400 meals a day in Manchester.
That's good.
Yeah, it's impressive. They're doing the right things.
You hear horror stories about, like in blue states, where people that are running those types of operations, they're responsible for the homelessness population. They're responsible for trying to mitigate that problem, but the problem just continuously grows, because if they got rid of that problem, then they would be out of a job or they would lose funding. So you don't see that in the Manchester area?
No, I mean, they got rid of that homeless director.
Who's the homeless director?
I don't remember what her name was, but she ended up resigning.
Uh-huh.
But she was just throw more money at it, throw more money at it, throw more money. It's not fixing the problem.
So they had the same thing going on.
They had the same thing going on, yeah. And she's just like, well, you're going to keep increasing services, and it just brings in more and more and more and more people, and they're not helping them. So it was just another revolving door. You're in there for 24 hours, you get dry, and they kick you back out. What good is that? It's not doing anything. It's not a real shelter program. You want to get somebody into a program where they can detox for a length of time, 3 months, 6 months, get their head straight, teach them how to be productive and learn how to function again, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people need that. Or you get people that just hit unfortunate circumstances. They didn't have insurance and their house burnt down, and all of a sudden, I'm living in my car. What the hell?
That's bad.
I mean, it happens. And that's a real story that happens. It's not all drug abuse and mental abuse. I mean,
sometimes it's just somebody that went on pain meds because they got into an accident.
Yeah, circumstances. And it's tough. Sometimes you get in that hole and you can't dig yourself out of that hole.
It's really hurt the workforce, and we're having trouble just finding workers. And it doesn't seem like it's bouncing back. Like there's that many people getting into the trades. No,
and I think this. Like with the education system, that's something that I'd like to see expanded, is the trades and the technical colleges and stuff like that. Not every kid is meant to be going to college and stuff like that. You have an aptitude for working in mechanics. Good, great. If you're an electrician, there's so much money in the trades.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be making a nice 6 figures and not be killing yourself doing it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity, and I think we should encourage that with the youth today.
Do you think New Hampshire is?
I think we're heading in that direction.
How so?
I think they're expanding the technical colleges and stuff like that. I'd like to see Manchester Technical College be expanded. You know, you have a couple of these empty schools there in Manchester. Why not turn it into more technical trade stuff, right? And the state funds half of that. So if it costs $40 million to do the school, the state's going to kick in $20 million of it.
Okay.
That's a win-win for me as far as I'm concerned when you're renovating something.
Yeah.
If the state's willing to foot half the bill. I think the trades are the future.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think that's how a lot of people had a higher standard of living. I think going to college and indebting yourself to get a job, I mean, unless you're becoming a doctor or a lawyer, something that really requires a college education, that
you're digging yourself a big hole to start your life.
They go into college, they rack up this debt, and then they don't follow through, and now they have they basically have a mortgage for a piece of paper that's not getting them anywhere. So it's almost and it's pushed on people. It was anyways. I think after the Obama years, when I think Obama was telling people you got to go to college, they're too young to make that decision. I think
not everyone's cut out for it.
Right.
I mean, not everyone wants to do it. You know, if you like swinging wrenches and working on cars, hey, knock yourself out, right? Of course, today I think you need to have a college degree in order to work in cars because everything's electronic.
Yeah.
They've come so far away. I think you have to almost go to a trade school in order to learn how to work on a vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, they're so complicated.
It's there's a lot of dying crafts out there because there's just nobody getting into it. I saw a blacksmith at a fair was it last week, and I was talking to him. My son was all into it, and he was just telling us all these places you can go to start getting kids into it, and you can go bring them to a place and they can swing the hammer and hit the iron, and but even he said he's like, not a lot of people are getting into this anymore. No, which is sad that you think about how things just disappear. I mean, you look at some of the old houses that we have in New Hampshire and some of the craftsmanship that you see on these old houses in New Hampshire. Oh yeah, you can't recreate that in today's society, and that's why, because just so many people just getting out of it.
It's a lost art.
Yeah, and we need to bring it back.
Yeah. There's that New Hampshire League of Craftsmen's Fair coming up at Lake Sunapee.
What's that?
Every August for, I think it's about a week or 10 days, they have all the craftsmen up there. So they'll have a metalworking guy up there. They'll have a woodworking guy. They have artists. They have painting. They have pottery. But it's all local artisans. Actually, I bought a lot of stuff for my house there. It's
really?
Yeah, it's cool to walk around and check it all out. It's huge.
Is it?
It's like, it takes up the whole bottom of the park, so...
What town is that in?
Sunapee.
Sunapee.
Right at Lake Sunapee.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, where the ski lift is and everything right there.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it draws thousands and thousands of people. It's a big to-do if you like that kind of stuff.
So you ran in 2022 as your first term?
Yep.
Okay.
2022 is my first term.
And what pushed you to do it? You said you were retired.
I knew I was coming to the end of my career, and I wanted to do something to keep active, and I've always kind of had a sense of helping out the community.
And what do you think, like, the biggest topic in politics, or what do you think the biggest issue that you wanted to tackle, or you've probably drifted more towards?
At that time, it was the homeless problem. That was by far and away the number one problem that they were talking in the city. And
you're seeing a lot of improvements in the city.
It's turned around dramatically. It's not the same city it was 4 years ago.
And
that has to do with the initiatives that we did up at the Statehouse.
Okay.
With all the bail reform and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it had to happen.
Yeah.
I've worked close with Jay. You know,
with who?
Jay Rouet, the mayor of Manchester.
Okay.
You know, we talk on a regular basis, and he lets us know what legislation he needs to happen up in Concord in order to make the city function better. And we're doing our best to help him out that way.
So he took the play. Now, the lady that ran against Kelly Ayotte, she was the mayor of Manchester, wasn't she?
She was.
And when did her term run up?
She was in her third term, and she didn't get reelected. She ran for governor.
And then he took her place.
Jay took her place.
And there's been a big turnaround since.
It's night and day. She was a do-nothing mayor. She was not proactive. Jay's very proactive. He'll get right back to you. That's the way we all should be as public officials. You reach out to us, we should get back to you right away. That's our job.
And that's how you are.
Absolutely. I always respond to my constituents.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether they want to hear it or not.
Now, do you get a lot of feedback from your constituents?
No. I mean, sometimes I'll have a little bit of a dialogue back and forth, but for the most part, they just want to know that you heard them and you gave them their answer and your point of view, and generally that's good enough. And when I'm at the polls in line, they come and say they thank me for responding to them. They remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
The way that we got connected was through Steve Kesselring.
Mm-hmm. Steve's a superstar. He's a new state rep in Manchester out of Ward 12 this past year, so he fought hard.
He did. That's what he said, and he said that he won at a very slim margin.
We actually had a recount. He was the closest race in the state. It was less than 7 votes, so we did a recount. It was scary. Yeah, it was a big to do. And one of the boxes that came over from the Secretary of State didn't have the security tape on it. It had regular duct tape on it, so that was kind of a big to do too.
Oh, really?
Almost looked like it had been tampered with or something.
What came about that?
Nothing. I guess they had an answer for it, but Secretary of State certainly wasn't happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not supposed to be like that. But it worked out, so those voting machines, as it turns out, are pretty accurate.
Are they?
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting to see a recount, though, see how people vote on their ballots.
What's it like?
Interesting.
Yeah.
They don't follow the rules.
No?
Oh, no.
Now, if you fill it out wrong, does it get rejected?
Well, that's part of the recount. So if like too many boxes are checked off, maybe potentially that ballot can be thrown out. But you're only talking about that specific line in that race too. So, but there were some instances where there were a couple of them that were thrown out because it just didn't make any sense what they were trying to do. Oh. It's like they filled it out, then they X'd it out and tried to circle something else, or
thought twice.
It's wonky. Some of the ones are just like, wow, it's just like doing art class here on the voting thing. But yeah.
You don't have do you have electronic voting machines down there, or is it still paper?
No, it's still paper and fill it out with a pen.
That's good.
Then you feed it in the machine, it reads it.
I don't like the idea of having the electronic ones where you like push a button and it's all digital.
No, you want some kind of
record.
Yeah, record, actual physical record.
Right.
Of the vote.
Yeah. So how many? Was he the only one that got flipped down there? I thought because I thought it was a pretty good fight down there.
It is. Well, because 3 years ago we got Chrissy Cantor elected in a special election, and then we got Jay Rouet elected with an automatic Republican board. So we flipped Manchester. And then last year we fought really, really hard. We went from 6 state rep seats to 10 state rep seats. So we gained 4 seats. And then we also gained a Senate seat.
And Brian Labrie was telling me about that.
Yeah, it's a big turnaround. And, in the county, there's 133 seats, and we're only 2 seats away from flipping the county.
Wow.
So we do well. And the next state rep cycle, which I think we're going to, we'll flip Hillsborough County, and we're going to make Hillsborough County red.
Wow.
There were 3 races in Manchester that we were close to winning. We almost had 13 reps in Manchester, not just 10.
There's 13 altogether down there.
Oh, it's 33 seats available.
33 seats.
Yeah. There's 2 per ward. There's 12 wards in Manchester, and then there's 9 seats that float throughout the city. So I ran 28 races last year.
Is there a lot of money involved?
Last year, the first year we did it, we raised $44,000 to get Jay elected. This last year, we raised just under $90,000.
How much did you spend on your campaign?
We spread it around equally to everybody.
So it's not just one?
No. We have to. That was part of the problem that we were getting our butts kicked in Manchester so bad, is because they didn't have any coordination, they didn't have any training, they didn't have any support for the candidates. It was just always, hey, we want you to run, and kind of gave you a slap on the back and said, good luck.
Yeah.
And we changed that. So we did weekly trainings. We taught them how to fundraise. We taught them how to do their signs properly. We taught them how to spend their money properly. We taught them what the topics are, in the city, what the kitchen table issues are in the city, what's important to the people in the city, and those are the topics that you got to run on.
What is important to them?
Like I said, 3 years ago was homelessness. This last election cycle for the state rep cycle was by far and away housing.
What do you think it'll be on the next election cycle?
It'll probably be the economy.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Next year. This year, it's still housing, though. I mean, that's going to be the number one issue in Manchester. It's going to still be housing.
Do they go hand in hand?
What's that, the economy and housing? I think so. I mean, people can't get into the workforce because they don't have any place to live. So that's a problem. We need workforce housing. Steve's worked on legislation that's going to allow bio companies to come up into Manchester. So where are all those people going to be housed? Manchester's doing a good job. We have 500 housing units coming online in the next year and a half. So it's happening. But is it going to be enough? I don't know. The problem to solving the housing crisis is to create housing.
Yeah.
Period.
Now, is the trick to housing to do it in a way that where the market kind of allows it? I mean, the market is begging for it right now. Is that what's happening?
Manchester's the number one housing market in the country.
Is it?
It's number one.
Manchester, New Hampshire?
Manchester, New Hampshire is the number one housing market in the country.
Wow.
You wouldn't think that, would you?
I never heard that. It's
been that way for a little while now. That's why there's no availability. It's just been crazy. But when you're talking about housing, there's all kinds of different housing. You get manufactured housing, you get ADUs, you get workforce housing. Workforce housing can be a one single bedroom unit housing. You could build those in modules.
Studio apartments.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Open it up. Like we passed some zoning laws that says if you have a commercial property like on Main Street, you can have housing on top of it now. Whereas some towns and cities in Manchester weren't allowing that to happen. And that's normal. Just makes sense.
Yeah.
Creates more housing.
Now, is that in the small town feel that where that was getting restricted, or is
it was the small towns? There was some small towns that were just having a problem with that. So we decided to say, yeah, that's okay. You can do that. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that in every small town in America. You got the store shop below and the people that own the store are living above it.
Yeah.
Right. It just makes sense. Economic sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Steve was the one that connected us.
Yep.
And he said that you are planning on running for Congress.
I am. It's something I've been thinking about for an awful, awful long time. And now that I'm retired and I know I have the energy and I got the background, I would like to think to run and be an effective congressman for New Hampshire, do what's right for New Hampshire, bring some real federal dollars to New Hampshire and create some opportunity for people that live in New Hampshire.
I've never interviewed somebody running for Congress. I've never really talked to too many people. I've seen candidates at events, What would make you different than other people that might be running? Me as a, I guess I'm middle class. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it. It could get tough. People are pinching pennies.
Yeah, it's tough to make a living out there. It's tough to live today with the price of everything. When the average home costs $500,000 to get into, that's not a starter home anymore.
It's not, but you can't find anything. If you find anything that's less than that, you're gonna have to put $100,000 into it just to
make it livable.
Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest problem that we have is people aren't having kids, and our national debt's too high.
Yep, and our population is aging.
Yep,
especially in New Hampshire. I think the thing you want to ask, one of the things that separate me apart is I've lived in New Hampshire my whole life. I've been born and raised here. I went to college here. I had my business here. I was successful here. I supported the local economy here. I employed people that lived in Manchester. I'm just about New Hampshire, so I want to see New Hampshire continue to be this best state that it can be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's good. And so what are some of your
big ideas?
Yeah.
One would be to do another Seabrook nuclear power plant. I think we need nuclear energy here. I think New Hampshire has to be self-sufficient with their own power. And it's come so far today that they can use the spent fuel in Seabrook to do the new nuclear power plant.
So they have new plants that can run off of
the old material and then make it inert, so it's not radioactive anymore when they're actually done with it.
Really?
It's come so far. I mean, the technology has come light years ahead, and they have these little micro nuclear power plants, which I don't know honestly that too much about, but that's a thing too. I don't want to see us rely on Canada for our power.
No.
Do
we rely on other states too?
I know we rely on other states for natural gas and stuff like that. They want to put a pipeline and stuff like that through. But I just think that New Hampshire should invest in their own infrastructure and be self-sufficient. There's no reason not to. And again, that creates jobs and opportunity for people in the state of New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about I like guns.
The Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Well, I've been around guns my whole life, and I actually passed some legislation up at the Statehouse that's going to allow air rifles to be used for hunting big game.
Now, how does that work?
They've come a long way. These air rifles go up to 50 caliber now, and they'll take down like a water buffalo. They're like super powerful. So you have no problem taking down a deer, a bear, or a moose with these air rifles.
What do they run off of?
They run off of CO2. And what we did is initially Fish and Game wasn't too thrilled about doing it. So we brought everyone down to Sig Firing Range in Epping. So we had the Fish and Game Department there. We had the Fish and Game Commission. And then we had a bunch of state reps there. And we tested them all. So we tested them from 30 caliber up to 50 caliber. And we had ballistics gel. So we could tell the impact of the wound, so it would ethically kill the animal. We had a velocimeter. So
is that one of them?
Yeah, that's exactly what that looks like. And that barrel underneath it, that's where the air is held. And then they have a big scuba tank, like the carbon fiber scuba tanks. Yeah. That's what holds the air in to charge them.
Whoa.
They're really powerful. I mean, it was the muzzle speed of the 50 caliber was 1,200 foot speed, 1,200 feet per second.
Wow.
That's flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we determined, like in Maine, they based their air rifle legislation on caliber, but we determined that it's foot-pounds of power that's most important. That's what matters the most. So that's the way we're going to write our legislation. Actually, that's the way we wrote our legislation.
Foot-pounds, not pounds per square inch.
Right. So it's a minimum of 200 foot-pounds of power of kinetic energy coming out of that muzzle in order for it to be qualified to hunt game in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And we let that be in rules. So right now there's no 30 caliber that does that, but if someday the technology comes that way, then it'll already be legal. Because of the way we wrote it.
Do you believe in any regulations on firearms?
No, I believe that it's a constitutional right.
Yeah.
To protect yourself, protect your family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But there's some people that are proponents for eliminating regulations on fully automatic weapons. Have you ever thought about that?
No. So say that again?
So basically, if you wanted to buy an M16, you can buy an M16.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't have to go through the ATF for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's just fine.
Should be game on.
Yeah. I mean,
they were talking about allowing manufacturing of fully automatic weapons in New Hampshire, and if you live in that state, you wouldn't have to go through the federal licensing in order to get it.
I think it was Mike Belcher that talked about it here.
Okay, so I know that it's floating around.
I think that's a fair way to go about it.
I think that's a fair way to go about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you're ordering, I don't know, an M16 from Arizona,
mm-hmm.
Who's ordering the M16 from Arizona? Right? But if you're in your own state, you're going to be there in person.
Mm-hmm.
Way to regulate it.
Yeah. And, I mean,
a little anyways.
We'd have more people coming to New Hampshire.
Trust me, I like toys, so yeah.
Yeah. Nuclear energy for New Hampshire. That would help lower electrical costs. So would that go through?
It would go through Eversource.
It would go through Eversource?
Yeah.
And it goes through them now?
Yep.
Is that?
I would imagine they'd be the one responsible for building that infrastructure, along with the federal dollars that we would have to get from Congress in order to do it.
But they're a monopoly on. They have a monopoly on our energy, right?
Yep.
So,
but it's controlled. I mean, they can't just go crazy raising prices and stuff like that.
Some months it feels like they do.
I know.
If you got into Congress, would you want to be more involved in certain committees in Washington?
Yeah, I mean, I loved my time on Commerce and Consumer Affairs. I thought all that stuff was interesting. I think the housing stuff's been interesting. Ways and Means, I would say, is right up my alley because I'm a finance guy. So I like balance sheets and income statements. I know it's boring to everybody else, but
I think that I don't think that they should be able to pass a budget in Washington without it being balanced.
It should be. It'd be nice. I mean, we certainly do it here in the state of New Hampshire.
Would you have voted for the big, beautiful bill?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But it does add money onto the debt.
It does.
Yeah.
You have to remember there's no perfect budget, too.
There's no perfect budget.
No, there's no such thing as a perfect budget.
What's that term?
And the federal, the federal line being not balanced, but even in the state of New Hampshire, you're not going to get everything you want in that budget. This last budget cycle was especially tough. We had to cut $900 million out of the budget because they overspent. So, like I was talking about earlier, $700 million of that was carried over from the last budget because they were short, and that needed to be made up right away. So that had to be taken care of.
So that gets introduced into the next year's budget.
That was taken care of already this year. That's like the first stuff that gets taken care of is the money that you overspent.
How does that get? So
you have to cut it on the other end.
Oh,
yeah. So we like that was the big chunk of the $900 million. It was that money that was the shortfall, and then Kelly didn't put in the money for the DC way of stuff, which was like $150 million. So that was the bulk of it right there.
If you run for Congress, what would be your driving issue? If you could pick one thing, what would be your driving issue?
Well, I think probably the energy thing is the most important for New Hampshire. Our energy rates are the highest in the country.
Are they?
Our costs, yeah. We're number one. That's why no industry isn't coming here. I didn't say that quite right, but industry is not coming here because electricity is so expensive. Anything that you get like those Bitcoins and stuff like that, any of that computer stuff that takes massive amounts of energy, they're not coming here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, any of that industry. I don't know if that's going to deter the biotech stuff. I hope not. But we need to expand it. And big projects like that, get stuff that needs the federal funding. I'd like to see 101 continue to the other side of the state. Yeah. I don't know why it should stop in Bedford. Yeah. I think that highway should be completed to the other side of the state. And again, that would take massive federal dollars to do it. But it would open up all that land and access to the other side of the state. Mm-hmm. It should only take half an hour to get there. Shouldn't take an hour and a half to get over there. 101 is just a miserable road.
I haven't driven down 101 in a long time, but I remember sitting on it when I did. Mm-hmm. And it's not fun. No, it's not fun. And, you just open up access. Yeah. It should be a true east to west road across the state. Yeah. That's what they did down in Massachusetts with Worcester. They built a big highway and all of a sudden, boop, there it is because you created access. That's what it takes. Mm-hmm. That's what you just have to build the infrastructure in order to do it. And I would think that would help with the housing problem too because people have a lot more access to a lot more land. Got to be able to get around. Yeah. I mean, up north, we have the drug problem just as much as we have down in the south. Drugs are coming over the border in the south, but they're coming across the border in the north too. In Canada? Yeah, from Canada on down here. It's very porous up there. Mm-hmm. It's a field. There's no fence or anything like that. I think we should increase the border security at the top of the state. Mm-hmm. Not to mention having illegal people coming over across the state, people that we don't want here. We've had some, I don't know if they're cartel members. I don't know if they always advertise it as a local person, but you can tell they're not from the area. Mm-hmm. We had some people up in Freiburg get arrested with guns and drugs in the car, and they had quite a bit with them. Really? Yeah, and it's scary because we drive through there all the time. That's reconnected Conway, and it's dangerous. Yep. I don't think people realize how dangerous it is when you have people coming into your community that you don't know who they are or where they're from. Mm-hmm. And why they're there. And what they did to get here, mm-hmm. what they've done in their past. That's why it's so big. That's why it's so important to vet people if they are going to be coming in here. Yeah. So what do you think that we should do about immigration laws right now? Well, we made New Hampshire... It's not going to be a sanctuary city. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be a sanctuary state, so we're not going to put up with it. You want to come here legally? Great. Fantastic. But if you're here illegally, you need to go. What's Congressman Cole going to push for immigration in the federal level? I think right now I would align with what Trump is doing. Mm-hmm. I think that's I think he's doing it the right way. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's going to be some instances where people will probably get hurt along the way that shouldn't have been, but I think in large part he's doing the right thing. Well, when you have open borders, it's not like you have the good people coming here. Well, when you have open borders, there's people getting hurt as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of innocent people that do get hurt. Mm-hmm. And if it floods our community with drugs that are killing people, those people are getting hurt. Yeah. I know I've heard stories that, down in Mexico, you'll be driving down the road and you'll see a stick on the side of the road and then the drugs are down in the ditch. Well, I'm hearing the same stories at the top of New Hampshire. People are driving down the roads in New Hampshire and they'll see a stick on the side of the road, and that's an indication that, hey, there's a pile of drugs down there. We just don't have enough enforcement in order to police what little border we have. So I'd like to see at least the fence go up. Mm.
a fence, maybe some security cameras. Maybe you can have one person monitoring 50 different locations at once.
So is Canada just not doing anything on their end either?
Not on their end, not on that border, no. It's just porous. It's literally a field. Yeah.
And it's all drugs that are coming from China too.
Drugs, yeah, it's just everywhere.
It's almost like the opium wars all over again, except it's happening to us.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad, and that stuff gets its hooks in people one time, and they're hooked for life. It's rough.
How do we clean everything up?
You have to go after the drugs themselves.
The drug cartels too?
Yeah, I mean the drugs themselves. That's when it comes down to it, right? And I don't know how you do that. How do you go to a country and you wipe out all their poppy fields? How do you do that? I don't know. But I mean, when it comes down to it, at the very end of the day, it's the drugs. You need to stop the drugs, chase the drugs. Do a broken windows thing. Start arresting the drug dealers from the bottom up. Don't let them do it.
Because it does seem like there's less arrests, which New Hampshire's working on that with bail reform, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, the bail reform is going to stop the revolving door. And if people have problems, they're going to get the treatment that they need. And, the counties have excellent drug rehab programs in the facilities.
But when you go to some of these blue cities across the country where it's just people using out in the open and nothing's being done about it, then that means that the government's losing its legitimacy in that field.
It's lost its handle on the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the bail reforms hopefully is going to turn that around. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. It's not going to be an open game anymore, at least not in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really done a real number on our communities. And the only thing I think about is like they've been illegal the whole time, but how did we get here,
How did it get so bad?
How did we
let it go this far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you think throwing people in jail over their drug problems is helping them?
I think if you get them into a rehab program where they can straighten themselves out a little bit, yeah. I mean, the way it has been is they go in and they detox for 24 hours and then they let back out. What's the first thing they go do? Go buy more drugs and get back on that. That's not a program. You get to first dry them out for a significant period of time, weeks, months. Get their head straight, re-educate them. If they needed help finding a new career, try to help them down that path. Put them back up on their feet, but it takes time. You can't do that in a couple of days. We're talking 3 to 6 months. Real help. Yeah.
So you consider yourself a traditional Republican?
I think so. I think I'm pretty conservative, and I think people will see that in my voting record in Concord.
Yeah?
Yeah, that I'm conservative. I'm fiscally conservative. I don't want any taxes on it. I don't want any income tax on it. I don't want any sales tax for the state of New Hampshire.
Now, would Congressman Cole vote on, as far as the income tax goes, what do you think should be done at the federal level as far as taxes?
Well, it's a stretch. I know it'll never happen, but national flat tax would be awesome.
And what is a national flat tax?
Say it's 7% on anything that you buy. You buy gas, it's 7% tax. You buy your food, it's 7% tax. You buy a house, it's 7% tax. You buy a car, it's 7% tax. But it applies to everybody.
And income too?
So yeah. So if you're a multimillionaire, you want to go out and buy a $100 million yacht, well, you're paying 7% tax on it. It doesn't exactly work that way with the way it's so structured. It's the middle class and the lower class is taking the brunt of the bill. It's not the upper class. So if you want to make the game fair, just make it a flat tax across the board. Then you'd be able to get rid of a lot of the IRS too, right? No more doing taxes.
Yeah.
You're just paying it right up front. But that'll never happen. So,
do you think you could see a time where we could eliminate the income tax?
Well, we did here in New Hampshire.
I mean, federally.
I'd love to see it. I don't know if it's going to happen. It's the way it's so structured and put together. It's a mess.
I like Trump's idea of eliminating the income tax and replacing it with tariffs.
All right, that's a new one. I didn't hear that. What did he say about that?
That we would make so much on tariffs we wouldn't have to have an income tax.
So is that why he was raising tariffs?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to really follow it all because things do change so fast.
Right.
I try to keep up with the news, but it's tough to do.
Yeah.
And I think that
The tariff is a fair tax because it applies to everybody. When he had his first administration, I had containers on the water, and all of a sudden I had to pay an extra 25% tariff bringing it into the country. So if it cost me $80,000, all of a sudden it cost me $100,000.
Well, that's why building went up so high too.
Building, all materials, all that raw stuff, that was all due to that, because the wholesale is going to pass along the cost of the customer or the consumer. He's not going to absorb those costs.
No.
That's just the way it works. But it applied to everybody, so I didn't mind doing it.
Yeah.
And again, he's doing the same thing. So
it's a flat tax for imports.
Right. And, people don't feel it so much because it's absorbed along down the way. It's just passed along.
Yeah. One of the last interviews I did with Brian Labrie.
Out of Bedford, yeah.
Yeah. I had talked to him about, because one of the things that he wanted to do was make it so that if you wanted to collect unemployment, you had to go collect your check, because it would get people off the couch and get people having to go and see people. It might lower unemployment in the process and fraud. And I think that same principle could be applied towards like the income tax, where I think we should eliminate W-2s, and that your direct deposit check shouldn't have any taxes taken out of it. I think everybody should pay their taxes quarterly, is what I'm saying.
Oh, it's an interesting way to do. I mean, I do that, but that's because I've been in business.
But now you're aware of it.
Yeah,
I've done it. It's not fun.
No, it's awful. It's like prepaying, and if you guess wrong, they ding you for it, which is even worse.
Yeah,
I've had that happen to me before. I underpaid, and then like, oh, well, you have to pay a fine, because I'm like, but I paid what you told me to pay. Well, thanks.
Well, I think that it would make people more aware about where their tax dollars go.
Yeah.
The people that they vote for, the bills that are being produced and turned into law. If they had to write that amount out every quarter and send it into the government, and then they wouldn't. I don't think that you might get a tax return, but probably not.
I don't know. I think they have it structured that way because most people are not disciplined enough to do that, and they'd rather the employer take the money out and send it to the government.
Yeah,
that would be my opinion.
I don't think that's wrong. I just think.
I'm
sure tax delinquency would go up. Right? I'm sure tax delinquency would go up, but over time, people would say, "Wait a minute, why am I paying this much taxes?
Why am I doing this?"
Yeah, because people.
Why do I have to write that check again?
People look at the net, or they just see the direct deposit that's in their account now. Some people don't even get paper checks, because that's what he was. Brian was telling me about. Paper checks. He still does paper stubs, even when people have direct deposit. And he said every week they're in the trash, not even opened. So people don't know what they're paying. It's just streamlined.
Yeah. You don't realize it.
Yeah.
You don't see it. You don't think about it. If you're not doing the accounting for it. Yeah. That makes sense.
So what other type of ideas you got that you want to bring to Washington?
I would like to get as many federal dollars as I can and bring it to the state of New Hampshire, whether it's for housing or whether it's for working or initiatives or growing industry here. I just want to see New Hampshire succeed and be the best state that it can be. Yeah. There's a lot of different economies here in New Hampshire. You got the seacoast, you got the north, where the logging industry has basically been decimated. That doesn't exist anymore up there. So what are they doing for industry up there? What can we do to help them? What can we do to help promote their tourism that they got going on up there? What can we do to promote the Canadian trade? I'm on the Canadian Trade Council, the New Hampshire Canadian Trade Council.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is that?
And we promote businesses for New Hampshire businesses going up to Canada and Canadian businesses coming down and having business here in New Hampshire. Having that international trade going back and forth.
What are some of the obstacles in place with that right now?
Well, right now it's the tariffs.
Yeah.
Because Canada is all freaking out about that, and I have to say that they're even at the state level they've been a little standoffish because of everything that's going on. So I think once that calms down, cooler heads will prevail, and we'll get back to doing what we were doing before, and we'll have the tourism coming back down from Canada. I know that's a little off this cycle.
Is it?
Yeah, tourism from Canada coming down to New Hampshire and staying at the parks and the beaches and stuff like that. It's off. So yeah, it's having an impact, but I don't think it's going to be a long-term impact. I think it's short-term, and things will get figured out and smooth out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the New Hampshire Canadian. What was the name of it again?
The New Hampshire Canadian Trade Council. Yep, I'm on that one. I'm on the Forest Council, which we haven't met yet, and then I'm also on the fiscal board.
And that all has to do with logging up north too, right?
Yeah, I was logging that industry.
What's killed it?
Well, part of it was the carbon credit stuff.
Really?
Yeah, so I guess there's a couple California companies that have bought some big swaths of land, and they're not managing the land at all up there. And New Hampshire had a timber tax, and they're avoiding the timber tax.
What's the point of having all that land if you're not going to make money off of it?
Not make money off of it, or they're just using it to offset their credits in California. It has nothing to do with New Hampshire. So they're ruining the forest. They're not maintaining the forest, right? So you're not logging it. So it's going to kill the forest. It's going to kill the animals that are in the forest because the forest isn't going to be healthy.
Is that increasing the risk of forest fires?
It'll increase the risk of forest fires, yeah, because they're not logging it. Yeah, that's exactly what will happen. Sure.
Huh.
But they're working to change that. We have legislation in place that we're working to change it. You just can't call a piece of land carbon credits and not pay taxes on it, because you're saying that carbon sequestration, it has value, right? Because that's what they're using it to offset. So you should be paying taxes on it, or cut the tree and pay the taxes on the timber.
Okay.
It's not a new tax. It's a tax that New Hampshire's had in the books forever. But they've just kind of found a little loophole with this carbon sequestration thing in order to avoid paying the tax. And it's a significant amount of money. That'll replenish that whole area. That'll revitalize the whole North Country.
Wow.
If they can fix that.
Yeah, I drive through the North Country quite a bit, and there's nothing but, it's beautiful up there.
It's gorgeous, but, it's a community that's shrinking. The population's shrinking, where they had 15,000, 20,000 people, there's less than 8,000, 7,000 people in that area now. Now the schools have closed half the schools, and it's a shrinking economy because there's no industry there right now.
Wow.
The only industry they have is some timber, and then they have the tourism, which has come a long way. I went up and I toured Jericho Park.
Okay.
And Motorcycles of Manchester built a beautiful facility up in that area, so you can go ride the ATV trails up there, and there's hundreds of miles of trails up there. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's well maintained. It's really cool. Yeah, it's a good place to vacation. Yep.
I never realized how much the logging industry got hit.
Oh, it's been decimated.
How long has it been like that?
It's just getting worse. But like 15, 20 years. It's really gone downhill.
That's probably why. Because I was a teenager back then. So I don't remember a time where it was like that.
Yeah, that was their thing. That's how that town was built. It was built on logging and everything like that. That North Country. Like I said, there's a bunch of different economies here. You got the big cities down in the south, and you've got the North Country. It's totally different.
I was just going to ask you how many economies there were in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I'd say there's like 3 or 4 different economies in New Hampshire.
Construction's
a big one. That's one that's been hit hard with the finding employees and that kind of stuff, and materials. People want to talk about affordable housing. Well, I'm sorry, when it costs $500,000 to build a new house, it's not exactly affordable, but it is what it is, right? You can't build it for less than that. It'd be nice if we could build something and then rent it out for free, but that's just not reality.
Yeah.
Right. So when people are crying about, we built this new place and it's $3,000 a month, it's because it costs that much in order to build it. So
the new housing that's going in down Manchester, you said there's 500 units?
500 units coming online.
And how much? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But how much is that going to cost a month for somebody?
Like some of the condos that they built downtown, those are about $3,000 a month.
Wow.
They're not cheap. But you have to understand, the more inventory you have frees up inventory from other places. So the more you have, it'll bring down prices in the long run. It's just going to take a while for us to get out of this. It's probably going to take like another 6 years, 8 years to get out of it. Wow. And that's going full board. We need roughly 20,000 new homes.
In New Hampshire?
Yeah. Yeah, it's about that. Per year, I think. Yeah, something like that. It's a crazy number. We're not meeting the demand.
How long has it been like that?
It got exacerbated during COVID.
Yep.
So
the influx of people?
Yeah, like 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
So we had, 15, 20% more people move here?
Yeah, it's a great place to live. So why wouldn't they want to come live in New Hampshire?
Well, we had a lot of freedom too during COVID.
We did. Yeah, we had. Kristen did a good job. He did a good job managing it. I think he struck a good balance with everything that was going on and the challenges that presented itself. It was a scary thing. Nobody knew exactly what was going on, and unfortunately, it was just not good all the way around. Messed up people's work ethics, cost a lot of people their jobs. If you owned a restaurant, you were out of business.
30% of homes in America were just 30% of small businesses in America never came back from that.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Can you imagine?
And especially the restaurant industry. I mean, no, you can't have people in your all right, what am I supposed to do? There was some relief there, but no, and it didn't come back. It hasn't. And it still hasn't bounced back to what it was. It's getting there.
Nobody's facing any repercussions for that either.
No.
We now know that a lot of it was lies.
Yeah, we ruined a whole economy over it.
So is there anything that you would be able to do in Washington to help bring some sort of accountability or to make sure something like that never happens
I would love
again?
to see accountability for that. Yeah,
What could Congressman...
I would like to see Fauci sit in that chair, and I wouldn't mind grilling him, asking him some questions about it, see what his real thoughts are.
You think you could?
I think I could. Absolutely could. Yeah. I mean, there should be accountability.
Yeah.
It went too far. And even the economic damage it did, just think about the mental damage it did to society and to children. Yeah. You didn't go to school for a year and a half, or you did this online class stuff. What did that do to their social skills? All right. And it messed up the workforce. The workforce is still trying to recover from this. And it's just, we pumped a bunch of money into the economy, so you had massive inflation, right? It just was bad all the way around. Mm-hmm. A lot of lies. Yeah. A lot of lies, a lot of scare tactics. I mean, I get that it was serious. People died. People that were vulnerable or more susceptible to dying. But, I mean...
But they didn't treat anybody.
No.
They would tell you to just go home until you...
You go home for 20 days. Well, if you test positive, quarantine yourself.
Take Mucinex, and if you can't breathe, then come back. And then they put you on a ventilator, and you died.
And what's even scarier is we really never tested the stuff that we were injecting people with to prevent getting it. Who knows what those repercussions are going to be over the years to come. There's people dealing with it now, heart problems that killed people.
What do you think of the Make America Healthy Again movement?
I think it's great.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, get back to basics, right?
Now, is there anything that... I'm still learning about what state reps do, and let alone what a congressman does. So if you're a congressman and you're in D.C.,
I would say it functions the same way up at the Statehouse. Yeah. I think that's what gives me a big edge over anybody that I'm going to be running against. I've already got the basics down. Yeah, the first term was literally a fire hose of information they're shoving down your throat. It took a good year and a half in order to get my feet underneath me to understand exactly what was going on. And I had a pretty good background and knowledge of what I was getting into. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't completely green. I was the chairman of the Manchester Republican Committee. I ran that committee. That's where we had all the successes down in Manchester, and we continue to. So I know how to run those committees. I know all the Robert's Rules of Orders and how to proceed, but there's so many different little nuances up at the Statehouse that it takes a long time to learn it.
I wonder if it'll be another learning experience when you do get into Washington. Like, what was your biggest letdown when you got to Concord? Because I hear people go into Washington, they're all fired up and they're ready to make a change, and then they just get there and they realize that it's a tough town to get ahead in. What was
I'm going to say that I was never really discouraged up in Concord because I didn't have the mindset that everything I was doing was going to be gold. And I knew that not everyone's going to agree with everything that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So I always kind of had the mindset that I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to work as hard as I can with the legislation that's important to me. But if at the end of the day it doesn't make it, then I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
Just keep going.
You got to keep going. And if you didn't get the first round, like that TPLF one that I was talking about, you do it again and you tweak it and you keep working on it, and eventually you'll get it. They call it getting the nose into the camel's tent. So maybe you don't get what you want the first time, but at least you get a piece of that legislation in. So that's the nose in the camel's tent. And then 2 years later, you work a little bit more on it, get more of the camel in. Eventually, you have the whole camel under the tent. Yeah, it just takes a long time to do it, but it's a process, and you can't be discouraged.
Yeah.
No, in the first term I was up there, it was 201 to 199. So you had to work across the aisle. You had to work with the other side in order to get anything done. You have to. Yeah. You have to have the ability to walk across, shake hands on the other side of the aisle, stand your place when you have to stand your place, but understand that you can compromise too to get things done.
And you won your state rep seat in a midterm.
I did, yes. In this last election, I was actually the top vote getter in my ward, which I was kind of excited about. I didn't expect that. So that was a nice little confirmation for my community that I'm doing a good job.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough to win in a midterm to begin with because Republicans don't show up like they do.
It is. And it's about messaging. It's about getting out and meeting the people and having contact with the constituents. Anytime that they ask me something, I get back to them right away. I want to get you an answer. That's supposed to be my purpose. That's my function.
So how tough do you think it'll be this midterm for you as a running for Congress?
For me, I honestly think I have a tremendous opportunity. Chris Pappas is moving on to Senate. That leaves his seat open. It's been since 2017 that we've had any Republican in Washington, so we're due. I'm from the largest city in Manchester. At that time, I'm going to have 4 years under my belt up at the Statehouse. So I got a pretty good background and function of how things are running. People can look at my record. They can see where I stand. They'll know where I stand on policies. They'll know that I'm conservative, that I'm not, crazy liberal guy. And, being from the biggest city in Manchester, I think gives me a good leg up. I think I'll carry Manchester, and I think I'll carry the surrounding towns. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you this. If a vote ever came to you to audit the Federal Reserve, would you do it?
Yes. And I want to go inside Fort Knox. I want to see if the gold's actually there.
For real?
Yes.
You promise?
I would.
So that's a campaign promise you're making on this show right now?
I would love to go to Fort Knox and see if the gold was actually in Fort Knox.
Because I'd like to see the Federal Reserve get audited. I'd like to see
if it's actually there.
I'd like to see it abolished.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Get off the standard.
Get back on the gold standard.
Get back, yeah.
I mean, we have a printing machine that's driving us into the poorhouse. It's like running your house on a credit card, and eventually you're going to get cut off. Yeah. And that's what's happening to us. 1/5 of our budget, of our federal budget right now, goes to interest on the debt. And we spend more on that than we do on national defense. So that's
sick.
An existential crisis. Because eventually, when we can't pay for our military, then what happens?
Yeah.
Then we're not the world's largest superpower. Then we're the Soviet Union.
Yeah, the dollar's been devalued. That's why you have such massive inflation.
And as a businessman, you see that, right?
Yeah. That's why money's always good to put it in precious metals or something like that.
Is that what you do?
I own some, yeah. I own a lot of different commodities. I own stocks, I own precious metals. But, 10 years ago, if it took 10 bars of gold to buy your house, it would take 10 bars of gold to buy your house today.
Right. And they don't teach that.
No, they don't teach that. But it doesn't, your dollar value is significantly reduced. As we're talking, our dollar's getting weaker. While we're sitting here doing it. It's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately.
Well, they talk about home values going up, but it's really not home values going up. It's the dollar losing value.
Yeah, it's the inflation. Yeah. That's why you're paying $20 for a hamburger.
Yeah.
When, used to be a couple bucks not too long ago.
$10?
Yeah.
Yeah. To take a family out to eat now, you're looking at $60, $70 easily.
And that's being conservative.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's drinking water. And,
The wife's having a salad.
A piece of toast.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's off the hook. Things got to come back down to reality. People need to have a sense that they can live and afford to live reasonably.
So I've been an independent most of my life. Actually, I voted for Obama in 2008.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like I've come a long way.
Good.
Over the years. But not everybody's at that point. Everybody's in a different position. I've been a registered Republican for 2 years now.
Your values change over time.
Absolutely.
That's normal.
from when you're younger to when you're older, and for richer, for poor. So what is your argument to somebody that would be, let's say, an independent, longtime independent, doesn't really fall in line with the Republicans, worries that if they elect a Republican, that Republican might vote to make policies that might make it harder for them to get by? What is Brian Cole? What is your speech or what is your argument to them to vote for you, and how will you make their lives, those individuals, better?
I think it's about giving people opportunity, right? I'm not the free handout kind of guy, right? But if you want to make something of yourself, you should have the opportunity to do that. If you want to go to a trade school, you should have the opportunity to do that. If you want to start a business, then the SBA should be there to back that and help you out to do that. You should be able to achieve your goals in life. And, that's something that we can do with the federal dollars. And certainly we can. We can take people and, prop them and put them right up on their feet. Give them a chance of surviving in this world. Make better incomes, have better paying jobs. All that money can come to New Hampshire. We stand with the biotech firms and stuff like that. That creates big paying jobs. Get that housing going in Manchester where we can sustain that. There's a lot that we can do to help every single family here in New Hampshire. Try to get those housing prices down. Keep interest rates low. Continue to be a no sales tax, no income tax. Those economic drivers will help people out in the long run. And I think I'm very middle of the road. So if you're an independent, I think we share a lot of the same values. We're not going to agree on 100% of everything, but nobody does anyways. So if you can see me 85% of the time, then I think we're probably on the same page.
Why do you think that the Democrat Party is so able to touch on these social issues and drive people away from that?
They've always been fantastic with messaging.
Yeah.
They kill it in the messaging department. They always have words for things. They always come up with ways to present things, shade things in a specific light. They are so much better at that than we are, and we're trying to catch up. And that's one of the things that we've worked in Manchester the last couple election cycles. We've worked very hard at messaging, trying to get our message across, try to eliminate those falsehoods that they're putting out there,
Yeah, it seems like they're very good at teaching people, or not teaching people, but they're very good at messaging to people that Republicans just want to hurt the general population, and they only want to be there for business.
Yeah, it's not true. It's not true. The Republicans want smaller government, less taxes, less interference. Live your life the way you want to live your life. We're going to let you do that. If you need some support along the way, then we're going to give it to you.
How about the education system in the state that it's in today?
I think it's fantastic that we passed universal EFAs up at the Statehouse this year. I mean, that is a huge win. So any family can send their child to any school that they want to. And I think that's huge for kids that not necessarily want to go on to college. They have a aptitude for working on mechanics, or they're an electrician, or they want to work as a plumber, or the trades. There's huge money in the trades
because there's nobody in the trades.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's demand. It's demand, and that, it takes a different skill set. And an accountant's not going to be swinging wrenches, but somebody that has an aptitude for doing that is going to be doing that, right? And I think we need to expand the technical colleges, give those kids that opportunity to do that. And the EFA is going to go a long way to doing that. There's a lot of misconceptions that happen with the EFAs too, that they portray, and that is bankrupting the education system, and that's not true. It takes about $20,000 to educate a child in New Hampshire, and when they go to a different school, only $4,000 of that money follows the child. The other $16,000 stays in the community.
Is that true?
Yes, and they have one less child to teach. So it's not taking money out of the school system at all. It's actually giving them extra money that they don't have to do anything with. But yet they're always wanting more money.
Wasn't there just a ruling from a judge in New Hampshire, something about...
It's the Conville decision, that's what you're talking about. And that was expanding the amount of money that follows the child. So where it went to some amount over $9,000. Whether that stays, I don't know. But right as it was before, it was $4,000 that followed the child. So that number changes, that's a result of the courts. It's nothing that we did at the Statehouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was legislation through the judiciary.
Yeah, which should not be happening.
No,
That's not their function.
Yeah,
it's our function.
That's a term, legislating through the judiciary, that you hear a lot at the federal level with the Supreme Court.
It just shouldn't be. It's not their function. Their function is to uphold the law, right? Not interpret it or change it.
Yeah,
it's up to the legislature to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's the way it should be.
Yeah,
separation of powers. It's there for a reason.
Yep. I do like New Hampshire because we have a very similar system to the federal government. We basically have, it's a republic. You know?
Yeah. Well, we have 400 state reps up there, and it's they don't get paid anything, so you do it because you want to do it. You do it because you have a passion for it, and you have all kinds of walks of life that are up there at the Statehouse. 400 minds. That's a lot of brain power. You can pretty much solve any problem that comes at this state. We're going to be able to figure it out there. Somebody somewhere along the way is going to know it.
What do you think the most bipartisan thing that you've seen at the Statehouse level has been? Where everybody came together.
2
Kumbaya.
years. Kumbaya. My first term, it was the budget. How that went through on a voice vote was amazing. So that was like the biggest thing that we did. I want to say some of the housing stuff that we did this year, we got a lot of bipartisan cooperation through it. Yeah, the Republicans kind of had their way this year. It's a much different biennium than it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, if you didn't have the numbers in the House, you were losing. That's how we lost parental rights 2 years ago. We didn't have enough Republicans in the House, and the Democrats had enough votes that they started ripping stuff off the table and killing all our legislation. This year, we didn't have that. The Republicans have stuck together. They put aside their differences, and they got a lot of good stuff done. Parental rights, universal EFAs, the bail reform. We got the budget passed. We got the Group 2 stuff taken care of. All those first responders are finally getting taken care of. We did a lot of good things this year.
This year, I watched the hearings, the sessions on blocking hormone blockers for underage kids.
The puberty blockers?
Puberty blockers.
Mm-hmm.
And double mastectomies for underage girls.
It's crazy.
And there was a bathroom bill that kept boys out of the girls' bathroom, or you'd have to use whatever one you were assigned to.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was in the schools. Was that specific to schools?
I think it was, yeah. Allowing underage kids to physically alter their body before they're 18 years old is just goes too far. You're not making a good decision when you're 14 years old. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
you can't get a tattoo. You can't get a piercing.
Yeah.
You can't drink. You can't smoke, but you can take these puberty blockers.
Puberty blockers, or you can physically alter your body, or it's not good.
So that's it. What is your official position on those topics?
I would say that the child has to wait till at least they're 18 years old, right? And I don't think it's a decision that the parents can make. Not for the child. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's mentally healthy. And some people disagree with me. They'll say it's mentally healthy by not letting them do it. But once you go down that road, a 14-year-old kid has a hysterectomy, and you never have kids. That's the decision you made for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of them are regretting that they did this, You're just not making a good decision at that age. And for parents to think that they're doing well by their kids by letting them do that, I don't agree with that either.
So if any of that legislation came toward you
I would pass it
on the federal level.
Oh yeah. I mean, at least till you're at an age where you're thinking a little bit more clearly. We know the human mind really doesn't evolve to your early 20s, so it's certainly not at 14 or when you're in those years.
Yeah.
And you don't know what influences are around those kids too, making them do those decisions too.
I wish it was more light shed on the people that regret those decisions.
Yeah, well, you're hearing more about that today.
Yeah.
And people are calling about that, and they're talking about it, and people that are, detransitioning, I guess is the term. Yeah, and yeah.
The Federal Trade Commission just held a workshop on it. So we're going to be seeing more of that other end come to light. I think it's going to be like lobotomies were. It's
the other side of the conversation that nobody was having.
You couldn't. You were a bigot.
Yeah. Well, that's again, it was them controlling the rhetoric that they're so good at controlling.
Yeah.
They're so good at controlling the discussion. They have the keywords. They know how to phrase things. And we just let it go too far.
Do you think they have the media on their side?
Yeah, I do. For the most part. I think there's some media that are pretty fair. But for the most part, it's pretty slanted. We saw it in some of the things that we do. We see it in Manchester.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure. We see it with the Republicans. They'll cover the Democrat stuff more than they'll cover the Republican stuff.
So how do Republicans combat that?
Just got to keep getting out, keep getting voted, and keep getting elected.
Yeah.
Once you get that base down, and when you have an automatic board that's Republican, then you have a school board that's Republican, you're controlling the conversation. Right now, we're not controlling the conversation.
Right now, the Manchester School Board, down where you live, is that?
That is, except for one Republican, is completely Democratic.
Wow.
And that's why they just put in like a $2 billion school budget or something. It's crazy. They're rough. They're out of their mind. They're in another world.
Didn't you guys get like a 25% increase in your taxes down there too?
Yeah, we got a big jump in the taxes. Yeah. But that was carryover from Joyce Craig. That is not on Jay Rouet. That's just left over that she just kind of shoveled onto him at the very end when she was on the way out the door.
So I assume,
and he had to deal with it. And he's through the bulk of it. The big thing was the Beach Street School. And he took care of that in February. So that was probably the worst of the worst.
It sounds like Republicans have plenty of stuff to work with coming up on this next election then.
We do. And, things are going to get better. Things have gotten significantly better, and they're going to continue to be that way. We're moving in the right direction. And I think it's time that New Hampshire has some representation in Washington.
Yeah.
Since 2017, we haven't had anybody up there. It's time. We're due.
And you're the guy?
I think I am the guy. I want to be the guy.
Now, how much of Trump's administration, like the second administration, here we are.
His second go-around is completely different from his first go-around, I think.
How so?
I think his demeanor is completely different. His first time go-around, he was kind of like, haha, look at me. This time, it seems like he has an agenda. He's sticking to that agenda, and he's getting the stuff done.
Well, he's almost killed twice just getting there,
This is crazy. That blows my mind.
Do you think we're reaching a dangerous period?
How does that candidate, out of all the other candidates that have been there, why is he the one that's trying to take out? And how does it get to be so close that it almost happens?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we flying drones over these events and stuff like that? Paying attention. That's just should be 101, I would think, today.
Imagine the world we live in right now if that did happen.
It'd be, I don't know. That's just scary. Inches away, not even inches. One little move and it was over.
Now, do you have any criticisms of the Trump administration?
I think I already touched a little bit on the terror stuff. I think the way he's been yanking people around in the terror stuff isn't quite great. But again, he's a really super smart businessman, and he seems to getting things going his way. I think the thing that he did in Iran was a super huge statement to the rest of the world that the United States can strike you anytime, anywhere we want. You're not going to see us coming. You're not going to see us going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that made a statement to the rest of the world and gave the world some pause. I think things have calmed down a little bit. I know they're not great, but I don't think they were as bad as they were. Got North Korea shooting off missiles and ballistic stuff all of a sudden. Taiwan situation's calming down there. China's kind of backing down a little bit. Things are calming down, I think, around the world. And I hope he tries to resolve the Russian thing.
I was very critical of that when that happened. And I'm glad that he didn't continue it any further than he did. Yeah. I think it was kind of dangerous because it could have erupted into another war that we don't need.
No.
That we can't afford.
No. And we don't need to have war in this day and age. No, I don't. That conflict needs to end in the Ukraine. It just needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's economic sanctions, probably be the best way to do it. I don't want us to see us involved.
What if we just stop funding the Ukraine side?
That would be the end of Ukraine, right? Is that what we want to happen? And then all of a sudden you're going to have Russia up against Poland and all those other countries, all part of NATO.
Do you think that they would take all of Ukraine? Or do you think that they would just stop at the eastern regions? You'd have to take Putin at his word at that point.
And you can't trust the guy. I don't know why he's doing this at his. I just don't understand the war. I don't think it has to happen this day and age. And he comes out to me like a despot now.
How about the U.S. involvement in NATO? I think that might have something to do with it because we have been expanding NATO since the end of the Cold War.
Yeah, and we're basically the ones that are funding NATO.
Yeah.
Right? That's all on us. It's not really too much on the other countries.
There's a possibility that if we hadn't expanded NATO, that this war wouldn't be happening.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah. Why do you feel that way?
Well, if we had the Soviet Union, I think if Mexico tried to join the Soviet Union, we'd probably invade Mexico.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Look at what happened with the Cuban Missile Crisis. We didn't want nukes 90 miles off our shore.
Right.
But the Soviet Union didn't want missiles in Turkey either. Mm-hmm. So it's really just
a tit for tat.
Yeah. And eventually it can turn into a global war. And when there's nuclear weapons involved, I think that there should be a lot more diplomacy.
Yeah, it's scary on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it get out of hand.
No.
I don't.
What else do we need to cover? You run for Congress. I got you in front of me.
I don't know what else to say other than I'm a New Hampshire boy through and through, right? So I love my state. I'll do whatever I can to help my state. I'll do whatever I can to help the people in the state. I'm somebody you'll be able to get a hold of. You'll be able to have contact with me. I'm responsive. I think I got a good head on my shoulders, and life's been good to me, and I'm ready to give back to the community.
I think the fact that you were born in New Hampshire is a good one-up for you, considering.
Yeah, there's not a lot of candidates that are really like through and through New Hampshire people. So, yeah, I think that's definitely something I have in my corner.
And you've been here the whole time?
I never left New Hampshire.
You've never left?
No, I graduated from Raymond High School. I went to college at Southern New Hampshire University. Like I said, I had my business in Manchester all these years, and I still live in Manchester today. I like living in the city. I think it's a good city.
If you were to retire?
I am.
You're not retired. When you're all said and done, when you're ready to go fishing every day.
Oh, I see. I would like to think that I made some real changes in the world and changes in people's lives. You know, I can think of a little instance. This isn't global by any means, but there was a constituent in Manchester where he got an ambulance bill that was like crazy amount of money because he didn't have any insurance. He didn't know where to turn to. And I was able to help him get that bill reduced from like $5,000 down to $500.
Oh, really?
So it made it so he could afford it. Right?
Oh, there's an issue right there. How do we tackle healthcare in this country?
Yeah, right. That's a big one. That is a big one.
What's Congressman Cole's proposition? Are you for free markets? Are you for?
Oh, I'm definitely for free markets, and I think insurance should be sold over state lines. I don't think it should be state specific.
I forgot that's a thing.
It's a thing. So if you sold insurance over state lines, that would allow other competition to come into our market, and that would force prices down.
And that's a Rand Paul proposition. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, you want to talk about an easy fix? That's one way to do it.
That's a start.
That's a big start because that's just simple. That's economics 101. Mm-hmm. You have competition; it's going to drive prices down.
I think that's one of the issues, though, the Democrats use against Republicans when it comes to improving people's lives. Like, that would improve people's lives. That would lower your health care costs. But they want to get the Affordable Care Act I think, has been a disaster. Mm-hmm. And it's put more people on Medicaid, mm-hmm. because that's really all that people can afford. And it's made people eligible for it that would never been eligible for it before.
Yeah, and even the price of pharmaceuticals are way out of whack. Mm-hmm. That can be fixed.
How?
Just lowering the price of drug costs, period. Not letting these companies make billions and billions and billions off of people.
And how does the government do that, though?
You could do it through research. I mean, it costs a certain amount of money to bring a drug to market, right? So you want to recover those costs. But eventually, when it only costs you a couple cents to make a pill and you're selling it for $100 a pill, there's something wrong there. There's a big disconnect.
Same thing with insulin, right? Insulin's been around for over 100
forever,
years.
Right? Why is it so much money? It shouldn't be money. You know, it should be like the cost of aspirin. It should be easy to produce.
Is that something that you would spearhead if you were in Congress?
I would definitely try to lower the cost of drug prices because I travel around the world. And, I have asthma. I have an inhaler. My inhaler here costs me over $100. I go to Aruba, it cost me $15.
Really?
For the same thing. Same exact thing. So the market is way overinflated in the United States. It's out of control.
And that's because of
Bureaucracy and corporate greed. Yeah, that's the combo.
Why are people that work for the FDA allowed to go work for drug companies, and people that work for drug companies allowed to go join the FDA?
Sounds like a conflict of interest, doesn't it?
Yeah, so what can be done about that?
A moratorium, I guess. Right? I don't know, you can't be in the industry for so many years after you get out of a certain position. That'd be one way to tackle it.
Mm-hmm.
So your information isn't relevant. I would imagine that go by the wayside pretty quick in that industry. Like outside of that, I couldn't really think anything. You can't really stop somebody from doing too much.
Yeah.
Right. But you're right. It's definitely a conflict of interest.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge conflict of interest.
Yep.
And I think the whole Sackler family thing that went on with OxyContin, I watched that wipe a generation out. I know of many, many kids that are being raised by their grandparents because of overdoses. It really hurt Main Street. You're looking at 100,000 people a year overdose and die, and that's a huge chunk of people over 20 years. It's 2 million people, and we wonder why we can't find work. We can't find workers. Why the population's in decline, and then you got to figure all the people that are addicted already that haven't passed away.
Sure. Yeah, it ended up being a gateway drug.
Do you think that America has been in decline?
For quite some time. We're not number one. We're not number one in education and all that kind of stuff. No, we got some catching up to do. I think we can do it. We're just going to get back on the right track.
How long do you think it's been like that?
I would say it's been like 15, 20 years. Yeah, since we've been in a pretty state of decline. Yeah. Thank God we're still the number one superpower in the world, though.
Because we have the largest military.
That's it.
As long as we can keep paying for it.
Keep paying for that, get industry back here, get people back to working, and protect America and make sure America's first. Take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming all the way up here from Manchester.
No, thanks for having me. This has been fun. This is my first time doing this.
So Brian Cole, Congress 24.
That's right.
26.
26.
It's 2025 right now. I'm losing.
Yeah, we're having our big launch party coming up, and pretty excited about that. It's going to be in Megatine ski area on August 4th from 6 to 8. And I'm inviting everybody. You want to come down and hang out and get some swag and talk to me, give me your opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Love to have you there.
And are you on Twitter?
We're getting there. We're setting all that stuff up this week.
Do you have a personal page on there?
I do not.
No?
Nope.
On Facebook?
I do have a personal page.
Okay.
Yeah, it's under my name.
Yeah.
I also do have a website, but we're also creating another website for the Congress.
And that'll be
up and running by the time you guys see this.
All right.
Yep, that'll all be ready to go.
Cool.
Yep.
Hey, I look forward. I appreciate you coming on, and I wish you the best of luck.
All right.
And go for it, man.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.